So I effectively made all of Triple J blacklist me.
Okay, there's context to this. There's context to this. Okay, so I.
Go.
Remix comp was like context to this. So I run this place called Remix Comp. Joseph jumps on my Facebook right after I did like a little interview with 7 News, and then Joseph jumps on my Facebook like a month later and goes, "Oh, I just got signed to Universal Studios."
It was like 100 words. It had like a full like story and everything about like your
Thanks
life.
everyone that supported me. I'm moving to LA and all this shit. And then all these people started messaging me, and then I get a message from the guy from 7 News like, "Hey, we'd love to do an interview with you. We hear you're doing super well now." And I'm like, oh, I have to like follow up all of these fucking messages.
There was so many comments. Like it was like 150 likes, and that was a lot for back then. Like 200 likes, and people were like, "You're getting messages." People were like congratulating you and being like, "We knew you'd make it, man. We knew you had it."
I'm like, actually, I didn't make it.
So you've won the Remix Comp. He's hacked your thing saying, "I've made it."
In other words, I just let him into my house. That was my mistake.
I used to sleep on his couch, but it had nothing to do with sausages. But I used to, I used to sleep on his couch.
Okay. And then you made him semi-famous. Did you go on 7 News?
I did for the place, not for his stupid post.
I wanted him to.
For Play School, I did, yeah.
You should have.
If I
just troll them and
just been
get
like,
paid
yeah,
for it.
just like, hey, I'm also getting signed to Universal Studios. Sweaty and uncomfortable. I'm terrible at lying, by the way. Like that would have been such a bad delivery.
Anything is true if you say it often enough.
So I just say it a lot of times in the one interview, like I'm going to Universal Studios, man.
Make it like really obvious that you're not telling the truth.
Yeah.
And then they would have like made another story on how you lied. You would have been on a current affair.
You could have been.
And they would have been like,
really
"Why did you lie
yeah,
on Dread?"
right.
They're not even interviewing me about that, and I'm just like continuously bringing it up. They're like, "All right, dude, we're talking about the Play School thing. Like, stop."
Yeah, but I'm signed to Universal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, bigger steps, man. Like, get some perspective. Here's where you are. Here's my career.
When I was at Ohelo, I was like resident at Ohelo for a bit, and me and my mate Bailey, shout out Bailey, we used to have. I love Bailey. No,
Is Bailey real?
He's signed to Universal.
Bailey was a bartender. He'd give me like free drinks and stuff, and we made my signature drink, which is just a really fancy water. So he'd be there and he'd have like the shakers out and everything, like throwing it around, like popping like fucking mint and putting it in the drink, and then like putting like a little bit of like grape flavor or something like that, shaking it up, putting in like a glass of like ice and like cracking more mint on it. And then, yeah, I'd have that as my signature drink. And like every time he'd like one up it. And it got so realistic that someone actually bought one of them. And they thought it was like a drink.
So like they saw you getting it made, like I'll get what he's
this
getting.
drunk dude came up to me, like put his arm around, I was like, "Yeah, that's sick, yeah, I want one of them." And we just like start laughing. He makes it for him and charges him. And he walks away with it.
How much did he pay for water?
Oh, it would have been like $10, something like that. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, it was pretty funny. Like we were just laughing.
He's probably the reason Ohelo closed. Like, I'm never ordering that again.
Just bad Google reviews. Just wreck them with bad Google
Mate, they probably would have stayed open if they sold more $10 waters.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's true, yeah. As part of the Play School Remix Comp, I got to go down to Sydney and meet Matt and Alex and like tour the Play School studio or whatever.
Were they funny?
No, they were really uncomfortable. Like literally, I mean, you know the like stereotypical like elevator scene in a movie where you stand in the elevator and nobody says anything? Like that actually happened to me with Matt and Alex. Like I get to the studio and the chick who I've been emailing, who's like super helpful and stuff, is super nice. But then I meet Matt and Alex and we get into this elevator. They're like, "We're gonna go down and see the Play School studios," and we get in the elevator and nobody says a thing.
How many people in the elevator?
It's me, Matt, Alex, the chick who's like introduced me to them, and maybe like one other person. Oh, there's one other person who was filming.
They were filming the elevator.
They're filming, yeah. So the camera guy's like especially uncomfortable. He's like, "How am I gonna draw material out of this?" And we're like going down the elevator. Halfway down the elevator, Alex is like anxious as fuck as well, like noticeably anxious. Is like, "So how was your flight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it was fine." And then we just like stood in the elevator, like all of us were uncomfortable. And then we did the Play School tour and stuff. And then like there was this like songwriting workshop as part of the prize. But all they did was like, I sat waiting for half an hour, and then she came out and was like, all right, let's go. And like we get in the studio and she's like, all right, show us your unreleased beats. And I was like, what? Like, this is a workshop. Like, don't you have anything prepared? And so I like showed her some stuff and she's like, all right, let's riff on this. And then like try like record some vocals and shit. So I end up with these vocals from and I come home and I'm like, I don't really want to finish this song. This is, I don't know what to do with it. And then Joseph is like, let me play with the vocals.
Yeah, give me the vocals. And these vocals were really raw. She did it on like a SM58 or something like that in a cafeteria.
It was like one take.
In a cafeteria?
It was like one take in Ableton. Like
Yeah, it wasn't even in a studio. It was like in a lunch area or something, wasn't it? Yeah. But I was like, look, like, because she told you, hey, do whatever you want with these vocals. These are your vocals. Remix it, do whatever, stretch it, whatever. And she said, when you're done with it, send it back to me and we'll record them professionally and try and work out a release or whatever. But anyway, I'm trying to like pressure Andre to like do something about it. So I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll do something with it. So Andre gives me like the stems and I make this track and it turns out to sound nothing like her at all. And it doesn't even like have words in it kind of thing. But the track sounds really cool.
I remember jumping on the next morning and you were like, hey, so I went and used those vocals that you let me use. And Triple J is on my ass. And I was like, what did you do? And then you told me you'd uploaded a remix with Triple J with vocals on it.
To Unearthed.
Yeah, to Unearthed.
Oh,
Yeah.
to Unearthed.
To Unearthed. But
like they were.
the thing you got to realize is Unearthed is 100% in their control.
Yeah,
so-
like, it's not like to the public. It's like you're showing it to them, basically.
Yeah, they have to approve the song before they put it out there. And usually if you upload a remix to Triple J Unearthed, they'll just be like, look, it has copyrighted material in it. I was being a dick. Like, I admittedly was being a dick, like doing this.
It was really funny, though.
I was just like,
it was really funny.
I was like, let's see what happens. And then it gets disapproved. I'm like, cool.
All right, so it didn't go up.
It didn't go up. And I got like 3 missed calls. And it's the Triple J executive producer. And he's like, are you COPYCATT? And I was like, no, I'm his friend. He's like, first of all, how'd you get these vocals? Like, we were just messing around, like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh yeah, I noticed you took it down, blah, blah. And he's like, oh yeah, cool. Well, I'm gonna give you a call and have a chat about them, or whatever. So then calls me from a private number. I was like, oh, she could, she probably put it on like private so that I couldn't call her back. She's like, oh, cool. So yeah, lose the vocals, delete them, and she like schooled me and she's like, look, I own 50% of Andre's song, and he owns 50% of these vocals, and that was the thing that I was like, hold up, I know that's not the case, or I know that that's not the case that you told him. But it was like that, and then she schooled me on like copyright and stuff like that, and how bad of a thing that I did was, and how I need to be careful with it. And I was like, oh well, yeah, look, I'm sorry, like it was a mistake. So I told Andre about it. I was like, look, like they called me up about it, and I
It just spiraled so far out of control.